Welcome back to SwitchCorner, my name is Alex and today we're taking a look at my favourite games of 2021, 10 games in fact, a tough list to break down, so I'll also be adding some extra mentions here, some good, some not so much honestly, but they need to be called out. So with that, like, hit subscribe if you love the Switch, as much as we all do here, join our growing family, and let's get started. Before we do kick this off then, I do want to clear one thing up, not necessarily based on score on the channel, but my personal opinion this one. Just games I enjoyed that were highlights of 2021. Well, they are in an order for me too, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. Find my reviews for ones I covered as well in the pinned comment down below. No More Heroes 3 then, and no doubt a controversial way to kick off the list today. Some loved it, others not so much, and I do get it. This one had some performance issues, mainly in its open world, which was also relatively empty honestly, but when it comes to sheer creativity, I do not think you can beat it. Suda51 has always gone above and beyond with sheer craziness, and that is no different here. This time around we are battling alien invaders who are out to take over the world, and the story delivery, it is just another level. From in-game cutscenes to old school style animations, it just catches you off guard constantly. That combat as well, the boss moments incredible as you find new ways to dispatch of your foes. It felt like a fitting send-off for Travis Touchdown, and that is all I ever wanted. It was a highlight of the year for me as well to get a chance to cover it. Loop Hero then was a recent review on the channel, and this would be best described as a title I found addictive. I played it on the PC originally, and on the Switch it's lost none of its edge. The touchscreen integration as well, a very nice addition. The idea though, the world has been thrown into a timeless loop and you are out to put an end to what can only be described as chaos. To do this, you will not control the hero, rather you control everything around them, select armor, weapons, equipment in general, and then build the world with tiles. These tiles impact the battles you face. The more tiles, the higher the enemy count and their strength, and before you know it, you'll be facing boss moments. The experimentation here is just so fun though. What tiles work together? Maybe they do something a little bit different if you put them side by side. What equipment works best for what scenario? And yeah, it's just incredibly creative. I foresee clones of this one coming soon as well, because there's no other games out there quite like it. Quake then was how you do a port the right way. The old school first person shooter, it was a masterpiece back in the day, it still is, and that's thanks to the clear care that went into the port work here. It not only maintains the original experience, but throws in then previously released DLC and even some new content. They then even took advantage of motion controls just to scream at the Switch it wasn't simply an afterthought. In this world though, it's a dark fantasy adventure, ogres, knights, just all sorts of strange creatures, and when you're done with the campaign you can look forward to horde modes, online and local competitive play, and co-op campaign, and even then fan-made mods and missions. It's even then still packing the original incredible Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails theme and soundtrack that is worth the price of entry alone. My final note on Quake then, that price as well, super budget, $10, and perhaps the best $10 you could spend in 2021. Another good option then as well, maybe Dusk, heavily influenced by this, but sadly the OG beat it out for a spot on the top list. Our first shout out then, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. Feelings, they were mixed towards this one. I didn't play it myself, but I wanted to keep on the positive side of things with this one, so I pulled in friend of the channel and long-time Pokemon fan, Bummed, to tell you all about why it's worth this honourable mention.
While I wouldn't call Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl my favorite games of 2021, there are some things that I think make them worth an honorable mention. The first thing being the classic nostalgic gameplay that veteran Pokemon fans will know and love. If you're looking for a trip down memory lane, look no further than Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. As someone who wasn't really a fan of the chibi art style that they chose to go with in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I do have to admit that I don't think these games would have the same nostalgic feel that they do if they went with a more updated art style like we saw in Sword and Shield. I do have to say, along with the chibi graphics, I do believe that ILCA did a wonderful job creating these games and making them colorful and vibrant. Some of the environments that you see in the underground are just full of life and color, and the battle animations in the game are fantastic. So obviously I'm a big fan of the nostalgic feel of the games, and I really do genuinely believe that it's one of the big reasons these games are worth an honorable mention. So all of that being said, I really love Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. I think they are the perfect games for the veteran Pokemon player that's looking for a nostalgia trip, but also for the Pokemon player that maybe was more interested in things like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, who's looking just for a more casual experience. They truly are fantastic games for both types of players. And I think they give us a ton to look forward to. It's speculative on my part, but I really truly do believe that there will be some kind of connectivity between Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus, so we have a lot to look forward to coming in the new year.
Thanks to Bombed for walking us through this one today. Then below in the pinned comment, check out his Twitch where he's playing through these titles. Once again, you'll find his Instagram as well, and then also his Twitter. Show him some support if you do have a moment. Metroid Dread then will no doubt be higher on my list than it will for many when it comes to end of the year countdowns. I foresee this one being at the #1 spot for a lot out there. I thought it was great stuff, but a few games for me definitely outdid it. Now as Metroid go though, no question, great stuff, a great way to hold us over to that next prime, and if I'm being honest, for me the prospect of a 2D Metroid was always a little more exciting than a new 3D entry. The series formula though here, trapped on an alien planet, we need to escape, and the map and upgrades available, complex, great fun to explore. It's smartly launched alongside the OLED console, and it's one of the best looking games to hit the console in 2021. Boss moments are tough though, as are a few near insta-death moments. It's going to take some practice those bits, and it's absolutely worth your time. I picked up the collector's edition though, it was absolutely huge, the box, but I still feel like maybe they could have done a little bit more with it. Some nice amiibos at least. Disco Elysium then is a masterpiece, I have no doubt in saying that, but my original experience with this game, it was on PC. Now the compromises, they're very clear. Visually it's in a downgrade, understandably, but it's still a good looking game. But what slightly lowered it for me was consistent load screens throughout the game. It just hurt the immersion for me over anything else. That said though, no game this year will have rating that is as strong as this one. You enter this town though, you're investigating a murder that took place. It's a hanging, and it's truly something special. It's incredibly dark stuff. I'd consider it almost a point and click adventure in a way, explore, investigate, but then it's combined with a dice roll system based on character stats, and the cast of characters, they're unlike anything you've seen in a game before. It's topped off then by a truly special soundtrack by Sea Power. It's one I picked up on vinyl. This game has a whole lot of text as well, and they truly delivered on making the game work on a smaller screen in handheld. That was always my main concern heading in. Death's Door then was nominated this year at the Game Awards for Best Indie, and it lost out to Kena. A beautiful game on the PS5, no question. This game though, Death's Door, should have got the win in my eyes. This is one that reminds me of old school Zelda, as you take on the role of a crow whose job it is to reap souls, and you'll basically jump between two realms. One is black and white, that's your home, the other, let's call it the real world. When you reap these souls though, in that real world, your life clock is ticking away. You've run into a problem though on this run. Someone stole the soul you was after. Get it back as your own life clock now ticks away. Stunning visuals, great combat, and some really strong boss moments and environments made this one an instant favourite in my eyes, and I was particularly impressed with the game's environmental puzzles. Shout out time then, Zelda Skyward Sword, a decent game, not the best entry in the genre, but it was a decent enough port for sure. I enjoyed my time with this one, and generally outside of some awkward camera controls, I think most fans, they were, happy for the most part. What was weak though, they locked fast travel behind an amiibo, which is about as poor as design gets, especially when you factor in these amiibos, they not only sold out instantly, but they actually failed to deliver them for many at launch day thanks to production delays. I'm anti-locking what should be core gameplay mechanics though behind an amiibo, and I just felt it was a poor show generally from Nintendo, and I hope it's something we never see again. Monster Train First Class then has become an addiction. I've been doing a whole lot of lists recently, best racers, co-op, relaxing, survival, all of those linked down below, but I've been slowly chipping away at best deck builders. This game will be high up on that list. In fact, I'm actually having an argument with myself over what I prefer personally, Slay the Spire or this. That should speak volumes to the game's quality. Story-wise though, Hell has frozen over all but one last pyre. Your job, transport this through the 9 rings of Hell and restore Hell to its glory. At the same time though, expect the armies of heaven out to stop you. I love that story, I think it is just awesome. And gameplay then, it's actually 4 levels. Each attack turn, they survive, they move up the train towards the pyre. Roguelike-wise then, upgrades between rounds should help you get there, but if you do die, it's all the way back to the beginning. Having played Slay though, you can hit the end boss here relatively quickly, but beating them is going to be a different story. Throw in then different clans with different decks to experience, units to experiment with, multiple routes to proceed down, and covenants. They will dial up the difficulty, and yet again, like, this game absolutely addictive. Looks fantastic on the Switch as well. I'm not sure how many people would want to see it, but I'm thinking of starting the new year with maybe a few reviews of games I missed in 2021, and this would absolutely be one of them. Monster Hunter Rise then, I did a very quick review on then in 2021, but this was absolutely an addiction as well over on the Twitch channel though. The thing that really hooked us there was the sense of community. So many out there picked it up day one, and there isn't a single instance of playing it where I can say I was having a bad time, you know. From customization to the monsters themselves, it always had something new to experience with, and I especially liked the online gameplay elements. I wasn't a huge fan of Generations either, honestly. I'll add that here. Too many load screens, it felt disjointed. I actually lent into God Eater 3 more, but this one, it's just a prime example of how you build a game around the capabilities of the Nintendo Switch. It runs perfectly, it looks great, and it added new elements to the series that hadn't been seen before, like the wire bug essentially. This is a SIP wire. It's another game where you'll easily get your money's worth though, and I'm excited now to see what the paid DLC in 2022 has in store for us. It's a game I still turn to today. Shin Megami Tensei 5 then was battling it out for my number 1 spot, and what a game it is. Many will actually no doubt place this higher than my personal number 1 pick as well. Incredible game, and the reason this video is literally the last day of the year, I jumped in late. I've been battling my way through it to get it complete in time. RPG fans, so this is a must buy. I decided to place this one on the 2021 list. Last year, the incredible Trails of Cold Steel 3 actually took my number 1 spot. Now yes, we saw a 4th entry, but I'll say this, that one, it's a great game, but some serious knowledge is needed at this point to jump in. Story-wise though, it's a normal day. You're on your way home, and before you know it, you're buried unconscious. You awake, and the Tokyo you once know, that is gone. This is nothing more than basically a wasteland. There's demons, all sorts out to end you, but a saviour emerges. We'll leave the story there, but it's definitely going to be worth experiencing. It's relatively easy to follow as well, which I really appreciated. The press turn combat system then returns as strong as ever. The dungeons are incredible, working towards stats, skills, and the resistance is addictive. And yeah, I'd say go watch a full review to get a full feel for the game, but it's going to be a good point for newcomers and an absolute must play. Honourable mentions time, and one awful game for this one here, but Dying Light was a great port, no doubt. It was just a fantastic game back at release, stood up incredibly well today on the Switch, outside of some awkward kind of launch issues. Umurangi is a hidden gem, a photography adventure like Pokemon Snap, but in a dark adult world that's just absolutely unique. Tony Hawk's was one of the best ports of the year, but you may want to go and pick that up second hand and not support Activision directly, given everything we've learnt about the studio in 2021. Finally, Persona 5 Strikers. Sure, it wasn't mainline, but it was a hell of a crossover. Realistically as well, look, it was a fantastic year for releases. That's just the beginning. Think Subnautica, Voice of Cards, The Great Ace Attorney, Tales of Iron. This list just keeps going and going. One game that you should never buy though, Nerf Legends. I did my worst list recently, and this, absolutely should have been on there. I think I pushed it out of my memory as quickly as possible, but if you want a first-person shooter with little to no creativity and a frame rate that goes through the floor, then absolutely buy Nerf Legends. Everyone else though, you should absolutely keep away. My number one game of the year then, Tetris Effect Connected, which may surprise some, but this was my only 10 out of 10 video on the channel in 2021 and the second in the history of the channel that is now 4 years, near 400 reviews. It is a complete addiction at this point, but for sheer content, few games can match it. Here we get journey mode. It takes you through this world with incredible effects playing out in the background. Quick play will cover everything from the more relaxed fare to endless, and then we even get online with crossplay. I dive in here personally for competitive, near nightly, and you'll even find a co-op mode as well. This is my end of day game though, 30 minutes battling it out online. Visually then it's stunning. It released the same day as the OLED and it's a prime example of what that new screen can do, and the music then is another level. It would be best described as a visual and audio assault on the senses. I know this game though, it's going to keep me coming back now for years to come, and I hope they do a follow-up because this really did take what was already a classic and gave it this stunning makeover. And that's my 10 favourites of 2021 and a whole lot of honourable and not so honourable mentions. What else would be on your list though, and what wouldn't have made the cut for you? Check out all of my year-end lists then in the pinned comment down below. Think there, puzzle games, racers, indies in 2022, worst games of 2021. There's just a ton on offer. With that then, like a shout out to the patrons of the channel who are going above and beyond to support SwitchCorner. It helps more than you know, so thank you all so much. Then hit subscribe if you love the Switch as much as we all do here. Join our growing family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.